Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Angela Ray Show. I hope that you all have had a great week and you are ready to celebrate Independence Day this weekend, however you choose to celebrate during the year of 2021. Of course, with Juneteenth being made a federal holiday this year, there are many people who say they've already celebrated their independence. So, however you choose to celebrate, we wish you well and safe travels this holiday weekend. I'm really excited. Last week was a milestone episode celebrating 100 episodes. Really hard for me to believe that I've actually spoken with that many individuals and actually had that many interviews, but that is what the numbers say. So, for those of you who will be joining the broadcast live tonight, go ahead and do me a favor, slide into those comments. Let me know what you are doing for this 4th of July weekend. The 4th falls on a Sunday, so I know many people are planning to have an extra long holiday weekend. I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of mixture of that myself. Let me just go ahead and shout out everyone who will be catching tonight's broadcast on the replay. Definitely appreciate your support of the Angela Ray Show. And as always, we're going to get the party started right with our Ray of Motivation moment. And for tonight's Ray of Motivation moment, I just want to remind you that you must believe. We've heard that saying before, believe, just believe. You got to believe it, claim it, name it, believe it to receive it, all of that stuff, various versions of that. But I think last night while watching the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, I saw believe in action. So if you do not follow basketball, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Go ahead, pull up a chair. Let me go ahead and explain it and break it down to you. The Atlanta Hawks were playing the Miami Bucks, and the star player, or who has emerged as a star during this playoff season for the Atlanta Hawks, is a young man by the name of Trae Young. And unfortunately, Trae was injured just a couple of days ago and was not able to play last night. And so the odds of Atlanta winning were just ridiculous. I mean, no one expected them to even be able to pull it out without their star player. But somehow, some way, wearing those shirts that say believe all over the State Farm Arena, they were able to pull it out. Now, that's sports. So, how does this apply to you? Maybe the person who you thought was going to invest in your business is no longer on board. Maybe the job that you thought you were going to have if you are in corporate or you're working a 9 to 5, maybe that job didn't come through. Maybe the place that you thought you were going to be living at this point in your life just isn't quite connecting with you now. All you have to do is to continue to believe, knowing that you are where you are supposed to be, and everything else will fall in line for you to score big and get that W. And that is tonight's Ray of Motivation moment. So I am really honored tonight to have one of who I consider my sister girlfriends. She is a speaker, she is a coach, and she helps women and a few choice men really work on their purpose and to increase their income, their impact, and their influence through live streaming. So please help me welcome to the show CaSaundra Jolliff. CaSaundra, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. So excited we get to have this sister girl conversation
I
tonight.
know. I am so excited. First of all, let me just say this. Angela, I am so godly proud of you. You did this thing, girl, with the 100 episode. I am so happy for you. And so it is an honor to be on your show. And thank you so much. You know I love you to heaven and beyond.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And welcome, Vashti Allen, saying this is my first time. So welcome to a first time viewer of the
Welcome,
Angela
Vash.
Ray Show. Now, see, if we was in church, we do that song, how they do the welcome song for the first time visitors. Everybody will make you welcome. Well, okay, we're not going to do that tonight.
Okay.
But welcome, Vashti.
Well,
Thank you for
welcome.
letting us know that it was your first time here. So, Cassandra, you
Mhm.
have really been in the trenches during this pandemic, working on your pivot. You have your own show, Cassandra Jolliff Live. Tell us a little bit about what you did pre pandemic and how you are helping other business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches get their life together through live streaming.
Well, I tell you, it is by it's divine, and it's also mistakes along the way. And what I will tell you this is that one thing about me is I'm a very determined person. I get fall down, roll over, get back up, fall down again, roll over some more, get up, fall down again. And so I've just learned to I'm used to change. And so one of
Mhm.
the things, prior to the pandemic coming, I initially started my show, which I ran away from for decades of doing, and it made a few attempts to do it and then quit. But when 2019 hit, uh, that first quarter, and I was being slick and not doing the show. And then March 31st came, and I looked up and I was like, OMG, my goodness, it's March 31st. Literally, I didn't even recognize the date until I just happened to look at it. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do this show because I said I was going to do it. And I literally started taking imperfect action with my broken down uh, mobile device, Samsung slash Boost, the carrier. And Mariah, at that time, I just went ahead and just what the old folks say, mash the button.
Did you wait a minute? You did not say mash the button. You
Girl,
did
I
not say
said,
mash the button.
yes, I said, as professional as I am and most educated as I am, I said the words, I got to mash this button. And I did. I literally just went live. If I would have, Angela, if I would have just thunk it, thought it, 2 or 3 seconds
Hmm.
later, I would have talked myself out of it again. And it probably would have been another few years before I started up again.
Wow.
So what I do now is that because I've been doing the show and taking imperfect action as I continue to perfect it, meaning not to make it perfect, but to make it better as I go. Their opportunities have reached out. People have reached out to me and asking me, how do I start a show? I've been thinking about it. I don't know what to do. I'm concerned about the tech. I don't like the sound of my voice. I don't like the way, how people, they don't
Oh
like
yeah.
how they look.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know what to say, and all of those things, which are the things that I had challenges with myself. But because people kept coming out, DMing me or seeing me somewhere or reaching out to me after watching my show, I just decided to say, you know what? There's a need here. I want to serve in this area. I can totally relate and be their guide to help them put their purpose on a platform as coaches, as speakers, as online entrepreneurs who do need that platform. Why wait, Angela? You know this. You're Miss
Oh
Hollywood.
yeah.
You can't wait for the studios and the networks come to you. You got to create it. So that's what.
Right. That is so true. And I love that phrase that you use, imperfect action. And I am definitely, I'm not a perfectionist, but boy, sometimes I do find myself in analysis paralysis where I am just over analyzing and over analyzing. And what about this? And what about that? But if I do it this way, that's not going to work. And I don't even know if it's going to work because I haven't tried. So imperfect action is and really honestly, I want to see that on a t-shirt almost. I want to see it on a t-shirt.
That would be hot.
Yeah.
You can do that, Angela.
I'm gonna leave that to you, especially because I know you have an upcoming event, as the old folk would say, right around the corner.
Right around the corner. So here's the dealio, you guys. If you go ahead and go to CaSaundraJolliff.com, I have decided to put on a virtual workshop that you can join to get those basics and a little even intermediate and a little bit, just a hint of a little advanced. But primarily, we're going to deal with the basics of how to launch your own live streaming program, such as what Angela and I are doing now. And whether you prefer a video podcast or you prefer a podcast, you need to have your digital currency in the form of your personal brand, your purpose brand on a platform. And so it's about helping you to get comfortable on being live and being, if I use this word, don't take it the wrong way, being the star and being the ambassador of your show and of your purpose in terms of the people that you need to impact, influence, and of course, increase your income with. So that starts in late January. So go ahead and go to my website and get on the purpose list, meaning the waiting list.
Wait a minute. You said late January. That's not what you meant,
Oh
right?
God, that's not what I meant. See, this is why
Okay.
I love you. This is why I love you. This is why I love you. Because I meant to say July. And I saw the words July and I just said January. And I don't even like
Okay.
January because it's too cold.
How about that? How about that? Now, you have your own show, Cassandra Jolliff Live.
Mhm.
And while you are a great entrepreneur in your own right,
Thank you.
you have some training in terms of doing what you do in front of the camera. You're also an actress.
Yes. I'm
Why you start
laughing. You know
laughing?
what? I'm laughing because here's the thing. Okay, now this is where the therapy sessions come in right now with Angela with me. I am, but that is one muscle that if I could be really super honest, when I moved from Los Angeles back in 1995 and moved back to my hometown in Alton, Illinois, I had such a heart desire to pursue it, and it was in the process of pursuing it, and in the right company, working with Kim Fields as my then acting coach, and Ben Harvey, who was one of the Tony Award winners for Dreamgirls, one of the leading guys initially, and for my theater coach, and then Vernee Johnson, who plays Will Smith's mom on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as my commercial coach, and then of course Miss the incredible Chip Fields as really a mentor to me in the business. I literally God shifted me out of it and sent me back to my hometown. And I put my I began to put my dream on the back burner for
Mm.
a pretty good while, even though that's truly the heart and the core of me. But in that, I discovered while I was on the back burner that there was something else that I could do besides acting, which was speaking. I learned how to speak. I learned how to become a speaker. And I also learned how to become an entrepreneur. And when you think about actors, essentially today they are entrepreneurs. And so, yes, I am an actress, and I am moving forward in that this coming year. I'm making that a point, considering, my trainer acting coach over here, Angela Ray, will coach me.
Now, okay, so you just mentioned you're doing that in the coming year. Can we say that this is an Angela Ray exclusive that we've learned that, you will be acting in 2022?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and put on my best Victoria's Secrets adult ladies intimates and do that. And I say that because it takes and I know I kind of went there with you guys. It is a adult, you know, G rated show. But what I'm saying is that I decided to step into that and not no longer put it on the back burner because of, well, it's been, 20 something years. And yes, I've done a little bit of here and there, but really to step into it the way that I had dreamt on stepping into it, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You talked about being a speaker, and you've been on many stages, you've worked with other people. Why don't you share with us one of your more memorable speaking engagements?
Oh gosh. More memorable speaking.
For whatever reason,
Um, yeah, I
whatever
know.
reason it's memorable,
I
you
know.
don't have to, whatever that is.
There's so many, but and I say there's so many, but I have to say probably I'll tell you of one experience that I was speaking on. I'm not the best person with words, as you can probably tell just a moment ago. I said something. I was doing a speaking engagement. I was trying to say, and this was embarrassing, but I was trying to say diagram.
Uh-oh. I don't need, I already know where this is
Exactly.
going. I
And
already
I'm
know,
not even
but
gonna
but
say
but
it.
but let me confirm. Just let me confirm. Let me confirm. You know what I'm saying?
And I
You
was like
know,
all about this, and I was just speaking, and I was like, and and I'm thinking I'm talking about this, and I said the wrong word, and everybody and their father, of course, laughed, bust out and laughed at me, and they came to see me, speak to them, and I was so embarrassed, but I played it off, but I was really embarrassed because I was like, But I had to laugh at myself at the same time because I was like, I cannot believe I said that. And
Wow.
I rarely use that word ever because of that situation.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
yeah,
That
regardless.
that is
Regardless.
crazy.
That was crazy. That was ridiculous. But I learned a good lesson. Certain words I just know not to say, and that's one of them.
And that's one of them. Okay. 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 Um, Cassandra, but
Cassandra.
you know that Cassandra.
Yes, I do. And Cassandra, really, Cassandra, she loves that story. Cassandra is also in the television and speaking industry as well. So she's another fellow broadcaster just like you and myself.
Yeah. So, okay. So that one was one that was memorable because it was slightly embarrassing.
Slightly.
Is there now? Well, no. So, okay. So, you know what? I'm gonna tell. Now, this I was
What
younger.
was
I was
yours? Let me
okay.
ask
So,
you.
I'm look at here. This ain't your show. You can't start interviewing me.
Right. Oh God.
No, but I will share that. I will share that. So, and I don't know that I've ever shared this story publicly. This is an embarrassing one. Now, granted, I was young. I was in eighth 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 grade to be exact, and I know that because I was in Miss Simpson's language arts class. Shout out to Miss Simpson, love you dearly. And I was in an organization called Forensics. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It has
Like,
nothing to do with not crime scene investigation, no
okay.
CSI. No, no, no. Forensics, the National Forensics League, and it still exists, but most people don't know about it. It was an extracurricular activity where we got a chance to compete in speaking. It was like original oratory, so you could write your own speech in advance. There was extemporaneous speaking where you had an opportunity to, like, those extemporaneous speakers, they, I don't know if they do this now because of, the internet and Google, but they would walk around with all these files and files of like different clippings. And so the goal was no matter what topic they pulled, they would be able to put together a speech, hence extemporaneous. But then there was the part that was slightly on the acting side. And so you could do a performance and what they called humorous interpretation. So you're supposed to be funny, or dramatic interpretation. And this is what's hilarious about me doing comedy these days. The first time I tried humorous interpretation, no, it was not working. Like I think I did humorous for about a year, and I wasn't getting anywhere. Then I moved over to dramatic interpretation, and that's when I actually started winning. And so for my in class, they would let us practice our speeches, and which the students like, because all of a sudden we don't have to do work. And then for me, it was good practice. So I was practicing a scene, and instead of saying going to the train depot, I said going to the train depot. And it was that the word was in there so many times, and everyone was snickering. People in my class like, and I'm like, what are they laughing at? Because this was a dramatic piece. And so fast forward, like Miss Simpson gave me critiques. She never even missed it. I mean, she never even mentioned it, but everybody else talked about that. I don't know. Let me say maybe that was, I don't know, December, January that year. I have my yearbook from that year, and people still talk. They literally were like, I will never forget your depot speech. Like, it was the biggest joke for the longest time. And so that one was probably one of my, fortunately, it was literally a practice. I was practicing in front of my class because we who represent my school were literally going to like a county competition.
Wow.
So
I'm glad
yeah,
you have to practice in before the competition.
listen, because if I hadn't,
Girl.
not good at all. So we were just sharing, and not memorable stories, but not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Now share one of those memorable speaking engagements that for a different reason, whether it's exciting, whether they rolled out the red carpet for you, whatever.
Well, I think the one thing, I'll tell you this little story, and it's more so about being willing to be ready when you're not ready. So,
Mm. Imperfect action again? Is that what we're
imperfect
talking about?
action, and yeah, like, and a whole bunch of dependency upon God. So I had started speaking, and I was working with a training company, and I was a seminar presenter, and I was going out and speaking, and it was my first time really what we call a tour or swing, and you have to hit those 5 states or those 5 cities, and you're in and out of planes, and so I had been. It was for a conference, and there were 3 speakers/trainers, and we met up in some part. I think it was Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'll never forget it. No, I take that back. Lansing, Michigan. And so we get in the car, all of us, meet at the airport. We get in the car, we're taking a drive. And I had studied for weeks on my track. I had 5
Mm-hmm.
different sessions that whole day, and I had studied and I was practicing all those weeks. And then realized that one speaker out of San Diego said, I have that track. Now, I was a new rookie on the block, and you had one that was intermittent, and then you had one that was advanced. And the one that was advanced was driving the rental. The one that was intermediate, she started freaking out. She was in Cali, very Orange County, and she was like, "Oh my God, I just can't do it. And this is so. Is there any way can you just take it? I mean, like, can you just do a different track?" And then the other one was seasoned, just was like, she didn't say anything. And I was like, well, I've been, this is my first time out. I really practiced for this. Bottom line, once again, I put on my adultness and I went ahead and took the track the next day for 5, 6, 7 hours, and had to do it the whole week and did not know the material.
Mm.
I had to use common sense. Especially the first day was just common sense. Thank God I was familiar with the material enough, because it was in leadership and administrative. From that experience, I was able to glean. But you talking about somebody that had to learn on the fly. The bottom line was the vice president and president of the company, when they heard what happened that week, they
Mm-hmm.
gave me a major acknowledgement, company-wide.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
because who does that their first time out the gate with material that they weren't even prepared for? But it was success. So yeah, be ready when you're not ready to be ready. Be
Be
ready.
ready when you're
Oh,
not ready.
yeah, always
Okay.
be ready.
Well, I will. This wasn't exactly speaking, but it does point to that. Be ready when you're not ready.
Mhm.
So this wasn't a speaking engagement per se. It was a poetry performance, and I didn't know I was going to do that day. I was working as a mentor with a group, and part of our I guess you could say our journey together was doing service projects. So we were tasked with going to a women's shelter and delivering these bags that had all kind of goodies, and then it was the holidays. We're going to spend some time with them, and so I showed up. We were delivering the bags, and my sorority sister, love her to death. This was her baby. This was her vision. That she had this idea to do this, and so she's up, she's speaking, and I don't remember why. I don't know if they wanted a whole program and we didn't know they wanted a program. So she came and tapped me like, I'm gonna need you to do some poetry, like today,
Wow.
like now. So we're gonna do poetry. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. And again, being ready. And so I kind of went over in the corner and was like, okay, which poem is appropriate for this audience? And I did a poem called Born to Shine. It's in my book, Raise and Motivation. If
Yes,
you
you
don't, if
did.
you don't have Raise and Motivation, you can get it on
Yes.
Amazon.com
Get
or
the
check out my website at angelaray.com. Got to do those commercials right in the middle of the show. So
book.
I did this poem, and it went well. It was well received. But after the performance, a young lady, she had to be about 6, 7 months pregnant. She fell like literally in my arms and was like, "Oh my gosh, I needed to hear that today." I mean, she was bawling and crying, and it was confirmation for me that what I do, the platform that I have, whether it is speaking, whether it is spoken word, whether it is my talk show, whether it is acting, because oftentimes even the platform as an actress is so impactful.
Yeah.
It helped me realize that there is a purpose and that people are touched, because sometimes we don't know that. Sometimes it depends on where I am. There's a speaking engagement, especially if my schedule's tight. I may finish my speaking engagement and I'm out the back door and I'm either, got to go to a hotel, check out, get on the plane, get on the road or whatever, or I don't get, or the other way around, the audience has to leave and go to another seminar or
That's
something
true.
like that. So we don't always get that one-on-one feedback, but that was probably, I mean, I've spoken at a lot of high schools and colleges, and I've talked to young people afterward, and that's always cool. But to literally have someone crying in my arms from words that came from God through me was just
Yes.
unbelievable. Like, wow. Like I just thought it was a poem. I had no idea that it could really impact someone that way. So that one is mine.
I love that. Angela, I've never heard you tell me about that. And we've been
Well,
around
you
each
know what?
other
Because that's,
long.
believe it or not, that is a very recent story. This
Oh,
was in
really?
yes, this just happened, I think, in late 2019, Christmas of 2019. So
Wow.
that's probably why you haven't heard it. But yes, it is a very recent story. And because, I've had some other impactful ones and,
Hmm.
those that I won't forget for various reasons. As I was asking you, like sometimes something is memorable because of the experience. I
Hmm.
remember going to a college and I was staying in off campus housing. They sent my breakfast to the house. I was like, wait, this isn't even like hotel room service. I'm at a house. And so there was a knock at the door and they came and set up my food on the table. I was like, okay, I could get used to
I
this, like
know,
for
right?
real.
I love that.
But yeah, there just so many different experiences that come with a platform and the responsibility
Mm.
that you have. Now, again, I know that you have this great event coming up late July. What are some other ways that people may work with you?
Well, the one way you can work with me, I do work one on one occasionally, and I do work with as a groups in terms of helping people get their purpose on the platform. And in short, once again, it is about them being able to get their purpose on a platform. And when I say purpose, I'm talking to those who really know what that is, those speakers, those coaches, and those influencers. Get it on a platform in terms so that they can be seen and heard. And here's the deal: it's so doable for everybody. I mean, the cost alone there. You start with this. You just start with what is it? You start with that.
Yeah.
You start with you, as my grandmother would say. Once again, grandma would say, "Use what you got," and she would always say, "Use what you got." And I thought, "Oh, well, and I remember saying this very about 50 feet away from her. I was like, I ain't got nothing, you know.
Mhm,
But it
mhm.
wasn't until I started speaking that I realized I had something else in me besides being an actress, even though acting is part of your, clearly your voice and your body language and all of that is acting. But I didn't know that there was something else. And so the one thing that I'm really passionate about is making sure that people have that are it's not for being seen for the sake of being seen. There's a purpose to you being seen and heard. And as entrepreneurs who are leaders, we have a responsibility to show up and to show up authentically and purposefully and powerfully to serve our clients and our audience. And so I'm very pro be on a platform. I'm very pro that.
That's a great segue into a question from one of our
Mm,
very loyal viewers here, the Angela Ray Show, from Edwin, who says, "Do you think people should choose their career through their passion or through their skill set?"
that's a good question.
I don't
Edwin.
know.
Very good. I would say, well, this is what I would say. Um, I think there's both. And I say that because your passion is usually where your purpose is aligned, but you have to have skill set even within that passion and purpose. You can do things. Some people do things very, God gives us all gifts, and certain gifts we just do it with our eyes closed and our, hands behind our back. We can just kill it, right? But then there's
Mhm.
some things you have to have a skill. You have to perfect your skill set. You have to make your skill set better. So I'm going to say dual, because you need to have a skill set of some kind, as well as your purpose, as your passion, in order for you to fulfill your purpose. I think it's both.
Oh, okay. Think it is both.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wrote it
that was a very, yes, Eunice, that was a
Wasn't it?
very good
Honestly,
question.
yeah,
Yeah,
you did that thing. Good stuff.
yeah, that was definitely a good question.
Okay.
So again, tell us the dates for your upcoming event again.
Well, I'm looking at the date of, and I say that I'm looking at the date. Let me just put in this little caveat or disclaimer. Due to a recent family matter, I've had to push the date back. So my goal is to do it for the end of the month, but I don't have a specific date as of today. That's why I want you to get on the waiting list. And once I land that date, you'll be in like Flynn. So don't let the date stop you. You're going to be able to make this, trust me, and it's going to be well worth your time. So you just go to CaSaundra Jolliff, just like you see my name.com, and go there, here, there, and type in that their name and that their important email address, and then I will definitely be in contact with you and invite you out with that specific date. So, but listen, know that it's coming, and my goal is to knock it out the water at the end of July.
Now,
Yes.
let me ask you this. I know that faith is really important to you, so I
Mm,
would imagine there are a number of Bible verses that are near and dear to your heart. But outside of the word,
mhm,
is there a quote that you consider kind of like a daily mantra, or you just
mhm.
kind of come back to over
Yeah,
and over
yeah,
again?
yes, yes, there is. Let me share this story with you. Before moving out to back to Illinois from LA, a friend of mine kept trying to get me to these signature speaker series. And she offered me 3 times to go. By the third time, I said yes. The first time I really messed up was with, I think it was see Minister Farrakhan speak at the speaker series. So I was like, no, I'm not interested in. Then again, this is the ignorance. She was like, oh, Maya Angelou is going to be at the da 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 speaker series. And I was like, no, no, no. Ignorance is bliss. Because she's from St. Louis. Okay, it's next door to me. Okay, just throw a rock and you're hit St. Louis from where I live. So, in short, by that time, she made me go see this particular speaker, and that is none other than I call him Sir Les Brown. And I went to, by the time that third one, I went ahead and went just to get her off my back. But when I went, I was so captivated, really. And I don't mean like captivated, like, oh my God. I mean like compelled to like just watching him. And I said, I don't know what that is he's doing, but I can do that. And one of the things, and I just, because I didn't have a plan B, I was only going to do one thing, which was be actress. There was no plan B. But I remember thinking, whatever that is he's doing, I can do that. And I just parked it. But one of the things he said, though, and I still have it, the notes that I took that night, he said, just leap and a net will appear. That's one of his quotes that he's known for, to take the leap and a net will appear. And I began to become very restless in the profession that I was doing at that time. And fast forward almost 5, 6, 7, about 5 years later, I was just so outdone with doing administrative work. It was part of my skill set, but it
Mm,
wasn't my place of grace. It wasn't my superpower, but I needed to make a living. And so what happened was I went to a bookstore called Borders, that's similar to Barnes and Noble, and I
we
purchased.
know what Borders is. We don't see them that much anymore,
I
but I do remember
know,
Borders.
I know, we don't see them that much. And so I bought this book called Speak and Grow Rich, and I followed
Mm,
one strategy by Dottie Waters and her daughter. I forgot her daughter's first name. But in short, it was this book called Speaking Girl Rich, and I followed one strategy out of it. And in that strategy was to just contact a seminar company, do an audition, send a letter attached with your resume. And I did exactly like that. And a month later, excuse me, less than 3 weeks later, I got a letter from them saying that they wanted to interview me and have me fly me in to audition for them in Kansas City. And I flew out to Kansas City, auditioned, and I landed a contract. And my
wow.
career changed in a matter of a few weeks because I got restless with purpose. I got
Mm,
restless and
yeah.
literally wrestled with purpose. And when I say purpose, my purpose is I am a orator. I am a person, and I don't mean like orator. I mean, I'm a mouthpiece. God uses my voice for good. You know what I mean? And so as a speaker, it just changed my whole. I would have never thought I would have been a speaker. That's not my thing. And then since then, I've become a coach over the last 10 years, and I've been coaching people for 20 years. Did not know that that was a thing called coaching, a trainer, a coach. And so, in short, I am so grateful for the journey. But to say it, sum it up like this: I leaped and a net appeared.
Mm.
Mhm.
So in the words of crisscross, jump, jump. That's what you did. You jumped.
Exactly, exactly. I did. I jumped, and a net appeared, and that is what propelled me into my career as a speaker, and letting me know that this is another aspect of my purpose.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Cassandra Jolliff, thank
Yes.
you so much for taking the time out to be on the show tonight. For
Mm,
those of you who are watching Cassandra's Facebook page, where her show resides. I'm doing quotes tonight and jingles, and I don't know why. I think it's because I'm hungry. But also,
me
her
too.
website is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Make sure that you avail yourself and connect with her. Again, sweetheart, thank you so much for hanging out
Oh,
tonight.
as always. I mean, that's how we end up meeting. We met at a speakers conference, remember?
We
In
did.
LA.
I remember very well because
We hit
I
it
feel
off.
like I feel like I met you at the end. And this has happened to me twice where
Really?
I've been to, yeah, when I say it, yeah, because we were, you know what it was? We must have all had late flights. And so you know how you hang around the hotel
Yep.
because you don't want to go to the airport. So you just hang out in the bottom of the hotel before going to the airport. And
Right.
you, myself, Kafi,
Mhm.
and Torsky, we were some little
Yes.
portion of the hotel. We were all kind of, I knew Torsky already, but we were kind of hanging out and just like, four black women, we just like, oh, let's go hang out together. And we started talking and realized how much we had in common and exchange information. But I don't really remember seeing you much during the conference, but
Mhm.
definitely connecting at the end. And I have a lifelong friend who just called me maybe about an hour and a half ago, and I met him the same way, another speaking conference. And when I say it was at the end, I saw him from across the room, and I asked someone about him, and they was like, "Oh, you don't know him? Let me come introduce you." I think we may have spent about 10 minutes FaceTime, and this was over 15 years ago.
Wow.
Know him very well, his wife, everything. Like, it's crazy how that happened.
How it
So
happens.
that is one of those things that I miss about going to conferences,
Mhm.
being in the room,
In the
virtual, where I'm very thankful for, but being in the room and networking and meeting people and enlarging my extended family. I definitely miss that.
Well, I thank you because you stood out to me at that conference, and I was like, I'm going to introduce myself with that girl. I just watched you from here and there, and you really are what you represent when you talk about shine, because you shined, you shined out, you
Aw.
stood out. So I get why your thing is shine, because that's exactly what you do.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. Thank you, darling. I
You
appreciate
are
that. Again, and I appreciate you coming on the show. I know it's different being on the other side of the microphone where you're having to answer the questions. Yeah, I know it's different because when
It
I'm on other
is.
people's platforms, I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to do. I don't have to prepare
I
questions
know.
and all of that stuff. Like,
I
oh,
actually like being on this side a little bit more sometimes because it's like I can just
you can
answer questions.
breathe.
Yeah, I can be freed up, and I
You
have to
can
worry about
breathe.
things
Hmm.
and the tech. I don't have to be concerned about any of those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank
Well,
you.
darling, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Again, everyone, Cassandra Jolliff, make sure you connect with her on Facebook and on her website. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Well, that is it for this night's edition for the Angela Ray Show. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for chiming in the comments. I appreciate your active support. As always, I would like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror does not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you all to go out and be the change. Have a great week and enjoy your 4th of July holiday weekend. Take care, everybody.